Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, family. This your brother, Mr. Holipsism. Today's video topic is Talking Point Smash version 1.9. Black people are not monolithic. Why is it when black folks start a conversation about land, infrastructure, and nationhood, and real black power, they always get some variation of black folks are not monolithic. We don't act or think the same, so how are you going to get us to work together? But those same people live in the United States of America under a government, paying taxes, and living amongst all different types of ideologies and cultures and ways of life without experiencing one shred of cognitive dissonance. So my question is, what's the difference? Well, I think the answer to that is pretty much the answer you get with everything when it comes to black folks. What other people do is perfectly normal, and they can comprehend it, they can wrap their mind around it when it comes to other groups of people. But when it comes to us doing it, somehow it's not feasible, it's not possible, it's impossible, and all kinds of other adjectives that people use to say that we can't do anything, basically. But when other people do it, makes sense. You know, I've used the example before of when the Chinese are working at a Chinese restaurant, nobody ever accuses them of being racist. If you go to a Chinese restaurant and you see Chinese working there, you take your money out, you purchase their food, no one ever accuses them of being too Chinese or pro-Chinese. You just accept it as it's just as natural and organic as, the sun rising up in the morning. But when you get black folks who want to do that and who want to keep something just black, we're racist, we're prejudiced, we're this, we're that. We get called to task for it all the time. So people understand other people's nationalism, but they don't understand ours. Even our own people don't understand ours, but they can understand somebody else's. You got guys in the hip hop game who will emulate Italians, but won't organize like Italians. You won't apply what you love and respect so much from them and then take that and do it within your own. But that's an aside. The point that I want to make with this video is this. The reason why, because black folks are not monolithic. There's nothing wrong with that statement. It's not like I'm saying that the statement is wrong. But I'm more concerned about the implications of the statement and why the statement is made. Most of the time it's made as a counter to nationalism. Like they say, well, you nationalists want everybody to work together, but black folks are not monolithic. We don't all think the same. Well, let's look at America. Does everybody in America think the same? How many different groups are in America? How many different political ideologies and parties are fighting for power, political power, whatever? But if you notice, amongst all of those diverse concepts and ideas and ideologies, America is a stable nation. Nobody's running up in the White House with a coup and taking over the government. This place is so stable that, in fact, other nations want their money in America because they know America is stable and they don't have to worry about their money being stolen. Well, Not, not, not in the traditional sense. America has a different way of stealing. But you know what I mean? It's like they don't have to worry that some mass men are gonna come in or some, coup is gonna form and then they just raid their funds get raided or they get dragged out into the streets and stomped out like a dog in their own country. So this is a stable America is one of the most stable places in the world, if not the. I mean, there's a strong case to be made. I mean, there's a lot of strife going on. I mean, you got the protests and the cops beating up the protesters, and you got the police brutality, and you got all. But despite all of that, people are generally um, stable. Like the systems itself that are in place are stable. You know what I mean? So when they talk about black people are not monolithic, and they use this as a counter to nationalism. What they're basically trying to say is, in order for you to have a nation, that you have to have everybody think the same and everybody act the same. But that is wrong, as I just expressed, if you just look at America. So the concept that black folks need to be monolithic is what I call a red herring. You're raising that up, or a straw man, I should say. Yeah, a straw man. Because you're raising it up and you're acting as if that's a legitimate counter to nationalism, as if that's something that nationalists are, proclaiming or even saying that it should be. No one is saying that black folks should be monolithic. Once black folks become monolithic, then we can have a nation. Nobody's saying that. So you're building up a straw man and then breaking it down to prove a point that nobody made. We don't have to think the same. What we have to do is we have to have common denominators, things that bind us all, things that we can rally around that affect all of us. And it's the same way, look no further than America. You know, in America, when one president gets voted out, the other one goes in, and there's a peaceful transition of power. It's one of the hallmarks of a civilized nation. You know, everywhere else in the world, you got coups going on. You got armed military coming into the capital and taking the president out and then installing some guy. We don't have that in America. You don't have it. I mean, I got to give America credit for that. You know, although the elections are a scam. Just the only thing you can say about America is that America is better at corruption. They've put corruption on steroids and fine-tuned it and got it to the point where you can't even blatantly see the corruption anymore, although it's starting to be that way now. But if you compare it on a curve to the other nations, America is like corruption 2.0. Everybody else is like, I compare it to like in I think in Nigeria, you go to the airport, you want to get something through, you just pay the guy off, slip him 100, and he's like, all right, go through. You can't do that in America. It's a little bit more slicker. So this concept that we have to all be the same and think the same and act the same and dress the same and do all of it and have this group think in order for there to be a nation, that's for people who don't know what a nation is. What they're thinking about is a motorcycle club. They're thinking about a group, a clique, a club. That's not a nation. The nation is where, if you want to know what a nation is on a microcosm, look at your neighborhood. How many people in your neighborhood believe in the same thing? What if you live in a building? Because some people live in apartment complexes. How many people in that apartment complex think the same exact way that you do? How many of them have a lifestyle that's the same as yours? I would guarantee you that in your apartment complex, you have people that's homosexual, you got pedophiles, you got murderers, you got stick-up kids, you got freaks, you got hoes, you got prostitutes, you got pimps. You know, you got all different types of ideologies, all types of people doing all kinds of crazy, obscene stuff, and they're all living in one building. Did the building blow up? Did it crumble to the ground? Did it just disappear? No, because none of that shit matters. All that matters is that everybody in there pays their rent for the most part, and the garbage men will still come around and pick up garbage of a pedophile, the garbage of a freak, a thought, whatever you want to call all the people. The garbage man will still come up and pick up their garbage. Doesn't matter. And this is the point that I've been making for years. People are concerned about shit that's irrelevant and unimportant. What you need to be concerned about, if you are an architect, if you are a leader, if you are somebody that considers themselves a part of the intelligentsia, then you have to recognize that what you should be concentrating on is the system that people exist in. If you're going to be an architect, then you have to be concerned about the system, not be concerned with the behavior of the lab rats that exist in the system. And I know people don't like being referred to as lab rats, but bottom line, you're the rat. You're the rat in that lab, and the architect and the scientist is creating the context that you exist in. So if you want the rat to behave a certain way, then you got to make the context or the system a certain way. I've been saying this for the longest. Hopefully people will get it eventually. But that's all I had to say about the black people are not monolithic talking point.
Nigga, shut the fuck up, boy. Get from over here. Now what you gonna do?
Anyway, I'm glad y'all can chill with me and get my thoughts out on that. I hope that I made some type of sense. Because I'm off script. I don't have any profile or anything in front of me. I'm just going off the cuff on this one. Because it's something that I was thinking about, a lot. And I guess it would be classified as another Negro stalling tactic. Because it's another way to prevent nationhood. Coming up with an excuse not to unify and organize. And we really need to cut that shit out. For real. Anyway, I'll holler at you good people later. Peace.